Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What You Say Anime. I am your host, Peter. On today's episode, we are going over the recently wrapped up spring season. A lot of hitters and some pretty big stinkers that we will be talking about. Obviously, this is a review, so here is your spoiler warning if you need one. If you want to jump around, please use the timestamps in the description below. Joining me today is my seasonal movie and now big timer. We got the multifaceted and talented Cozette. Cozette, first of all, how you doing? And second of all, what are your overall thoughts on the season as a whole?
Thank you. I'm tired. Happy Canada Day. Well, we're recording on Canada Day, so happy Canada Day to
Happy
all my
Canada
fellow
Day.
This season, woo! It was a good season. I felt a bit of a slacker this season. I couldn't really catch up on everything. So I had to keep my watch list pretty tight. I didn't watch as much as I usually do, and I think that that's going to be the case for the remainder of the year. But what I was really happy about this season, there was a lot of slice of life. Even like shows that had a bit of slice of life in it. It was a little queer this season. Not like, yeah, just a little bit. There's a lot of mangaka characters for some reason, so I'm really excited to go through them. There was a lot of bangers, a lot of surprises this season. Few disappointments, some that were like okay, but honestly, as a slice of life fan, this season was a blessing.
Yeah, if you were not a slice of life fan, I feel like this season might have sucked because some of the big properties that were these originals that are coming out that people were excited for, myself included, maybe fell a little short. So luckily there were some other things that I found that I really liked, but as a whole, I would say that this season was enjoyable. Like, not really anything was like stressing me out. There was no like super deep shows. Like every show I was watching pretty much was just like turn on and I was chilling. So I had a great time watching this season. I feel like we're probably like the exception, because I feel like most people didn't really like this season. So, but we're eating, so who cares? So that's all that matters. So we'll be talking about a bunch of shows. We're gonna go through, some wrapped up, some still ongoing, but we'll get with the first, I guess the ongoings from last season that wrapped up this season, and we're gonna start with the first one, which is the Apothecary Diaries, a show that I have been ridiculed for because I gave season 1 a 9, and I thought it was really good. But like what I liked about the Apothecary Diaries season 1 was sort of the progression that it made towards the end of season 1, and then into season 2 it had everything that I was looking for. Like, one show that I dropped was Dinner Table Detective, and I didn't need that mystery because I was already just so entranced with the mystery that Apothecary Diaries was doing in the second season. I thought the callbacks were incredible, going back from like the shed to some of the like towards the end of it with oh my god, what's Shisui? Why am I, man, talking is hard sometimes, but all these callbacks that were, I mean, not necessarily like hidden in plain sight, but like they gave us these context clues throughout the season, and if we wanted to, we could put the pieces together, and that's what I love about mysteries, and that's what I love about Apothecary Diaries. I was on board every Friday when this came out. I guess I have to put the warning, not warning, but we're currently recording when there's one episode left. I don't think anything that the last episode does is going to change my score or how I feel about the story. I thought this season was near perfection. It's one of the best sequel seasons of a show I've ever seen, and I just fell in love with what everybody else got from season 1. It took me till season 2 to get there, but I got there, so I think that's what's important. Cozette, what's your thoughts on Apothecary Diaries?
Took you long enough.
Hey, it's about it's the Zatsu Tabi. That's the journey.
Okay. Well, as a huge Apothecary Diaries fan, this was an incredible season. It was definitely different viewing experience for me because halfway through the season, it got to the point where I just didn't know what was going to happen because the English manga is not caught up, and I actually read it physically. So that was a nice viewing experience for me because I actually didn't know what was going to happen. So I pretty much joined everybody else besides Veronica, who's read the light novel, to be surprised in what's happening. But I think this season was really great because like the first season was introducing us to the world and the characters and the chess pieces of the story. And then this season was like obviously giving us more breadcrumbs, and then we got to see how like those webs kind of intertwined and how like things were leading up to another thing. So I thought that was really cool, and we got to see more about Mao Mao and Jinshi. We got a lot about Jinshi.
Yeah, we did.
Which I was excited about. Like they left some breadcrumbs last season of like who he might be, but then this season was like obviously established, like revealed who he was. So I thought that was really fun. But yeah, but honestly, this season was all about Shishui for me. she's my favorite girl this season. Besides Mao Mao, Shishui is like my favorite character this season. I shipped her with Mao Mao. I think they have better chemistry together than her and Jinshi. But they were ever since she got introduced in I guess it was the first episode this season. I was like, who is this girl? And then I just grew to love her so much. So, the recent episode made me cry.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, it was tough.
But it was so beautiful,
beautiful.
And like, if she is actually, then I'm fine with it. If she is not, I'm also fine with it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Do you think she's? What do you think?
I think it makes sense for her to be dead. Like, I really don't see her like in the world. I think I can see her being alive, but I think it makes more sense in the show if she just stays dead. I think it's something important that like dead people should stay dead sometimes in fiction. And this just seems like the type of thing where it's like, you know, maybe it was modern times and you got shot in the chest with like a 1200 AD pistol. Maybe you could survive with medical help, but it's like, even if she like survived the shot, like she should probably die from infection or something. So, yeah, I think she's unfortunately gone.
That one didn't age quite so well.
But she stole the show this season. Like, her character was so good. For as much as I love Mao Mao and Jinshi, and I do like their dynamic as well, I also ship it, Mao Mao with Shisui. But what this season did for me, what I was looking for, was being more just ingrained in the story as a whole. Because season one was, especially in the first half, was more of a setup to the world and everything like that. It didn't really, to me, feel like what I wanted from Apothecary Diaries until the second half. And then the second season is everything I wanted every episode. I didn't have to wait. The build-up paid off was incredible. The mystery was great. It's like, to me, it's like complex, but it's not like MIT, Harvard complex. It's just like, it's sort of just like, if you think about it, you can maybe put the pieces together. Because you mentioned we had some breadcrumbs from season one. And we had people like Tyler and Preston like theory crafting in our Discord. Join the Discord, by the way. Links to that in the description below. But it's like those pieces were there where you could craft out these theories, and then to see them play out was awesome. So I'm not smart enough for those theories, but it was fun reading their theories. So I think Tyler like 100% predicted this, like everything about Jinshi this season. And if I paid attention, I probably could have figured it out, but he did it for me. So shout out to Tyler. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be a front runner for Anime of the Year for me. I have it up there with Orb and, spoiler alert, the next show that we're going to talk about. I think this was perfect. This is one of the best sequel seasons I've ever watched. I gave it a 10. Yeah, this is an easy 10.
You have to ask what I gave it.
The people need to hear it. I know what you gave it.
Apothecary Diaries is a 10-star banger. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever give it less than that. I just love it so much. The story is just so good. There's never a dull moment. Every episode there's something new, and there's such a nice balance of like obviously drama, but there's also like comedy, and there's some slice of life, and then just Mao Mao being Mao Mao, and like a little bit of romance. Like it's just that's the kind of show I like where there's balance. There's another show this season that had a lot of great balance of a bit of everything. So yeah, it's a 10-star banger. I feel like I said this the last review, but like it makes me want to read the light novel, but I can't read.
Words suck. I get it. Why do you think I watch anime?
I like pictures. I know the light novel comes with pictures. I did try to listen to like the audiobook, but I think they used AI, so they were pronouncing Mao Mao's name as like Meow Meow or like something really off. So I turned it off in the first 10 seconds. But if someone knows where I can listen to like a legit light novel of Apothecary Diaries, let me know. Or like Audible or something. That'd be cool. Because that will probably help me actually absorb the content better.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Near perfect season for... Actually, I mean, it wasn't like a perfect season. So, 2 10s from Apothecary Diaries from us. Moving on to another show. Spoiler, I gave it a 10. Apocalypse Hotel. And I've been itching to talk about Apocalypse Hotel. Because this was a show that was not even on my plan to watch. I don't know if it was on any really... like maybe like Sora or Eagle, who like like to go out and check out these like lesser known properties, I wouldn't have watched it if it wasn't for and Cozette too.
And Miles.
And I'm not gonna give Miles credit.
Miles had it in the preview episode. I remember.
Oh, we're fighting. So, but I've been waiting to talk about the show for so long because it does two things that I love in anime. One is I never know where the next episode is going to go. I love where you don't play these tropes, you don't play these similarities of other shows, and which each coming episode, I don't know what to expect. And that's one thing that I love about shows like this in anime. And then the second thing that just like blew me away from the show was just like its creativity with like everything in it. The character designs, the dialogue, the interactions that they get into. I mean, one episode we're talking about, I'll just mention my two favorite episodes. Episode 5, I believe it's the whiskey episode, and talking about how like friendships, the whole metaphor is like friendships and relationships aging like whiskey. And that, you know, sometimes a 50-year-old age whiskey, it tastes better, but what you need is the 2-year-old whiskey and stuff like that. And I liked how they used that in the setting of just casually drinking. I thought that episode was written brilliantly. And then you had something like episode 11, where for 15 minutes of the episode, no words were spoken. It was all music. It was all sounds. It was all ambiance. And I just thought the creativity of that was next level stuff. It's something like the lines of Train to the End of the World that was like last year, where that show was chaotic and I didn't really know what was going on, but that's what the show was. It was a ball of chaos. This felt, while it had those elements, grounded in the message that it was trying to send the entire time. Every episode was part of the main story. And sort of seeing Yachio, the main character, shift her focus of what she's looking at from waiting for humanity to sort of serving everybody was like a really cool thing to see from her character. So this was a show that I fell in love with. I love when shows are unique like this. That's why I compared it to something like Odd Taxi, where it's not the same type of show, but like Odd Taxi was so unique and no idea where that show was going, where I compare it to Apocalypse Hotel a lot because you're going to get something new every episode. And that's what I fell in love with the most. So I'm rambling. Cozette, your thoughts on please don't say you don't like this. please don't shoot me down.
Marnie's playing with a squeaky toy. So if you hear it, sorry. No, I loved Apocalypse Hotel. Like, I was one of the few people that like raved about the first day of premiere. Like, I think a lot of us like bonded over the premiere. But it was such a pleasant, refreshing surprise. Because, well, I didn't watch the trailer because I usually don't watch the trailers, and I kind of saw the description, but it was such a great original show. And we get those every once a year where there's like this new original show that just blows our mind, and that's definitely this one. Like, I would say this is my number one recommendation to watch this spring. If anyone hasn't watched any spring shows yet, this is probably my number one recommendation of the season. But the one thing that I love about it is I had a bit of everything. There was like slice of life elements in the workplace. It was cozy. There was comedy. There was action. There was sci-fi. There was some coming of age stuff. There was some romance. Like, it had a bit of everything, and it was a really nice balance. And the fact that it was only like 12 to 13 episodes, I forgot how many, but
yep.
All of that wrapped in like that 12 episodes was perfect. And like, yes, it could, if we get another season, cool, but I think it wrapped up pretty nicely. That
I think so too.
There's not another season. Just the world building was so damn cool, and it's basically Japan, just like in the future. Ruined.
Yeah.
Like the world building, the designs, the like background art, like it was just so perfect that I was like, I could not find a single flaw, because every episode was also just so different, and like they all kind of connected in a way, but not really. Like they were just so different, and they all had different themes to it. And Yachio was just like such a bundle of joy. She's my favorite non-human this season. She might be my favorite non-human of the year. I think.
She might be my I guess because like Campfire Cooking comes out later this year, so she has to compete with Sui.
No.
Oh no? Okay, never mind.
No, she's better than Sweet in my head, but I don't know.
That's my baby.
I know she's your baby, but I love Yachio.
You can have her. I get Sui.
There. But she was just so funny. She was so relatable because like every time she had a mental breakdown at work, I'm like, that's me. Like that was me probably yesterday. But she's such a wonderful personality. She was just so much fun and she was so funny. Like the first episode, you fell in love with her right away. So, I don't know. I can't stop thinking about this show and I want to rewatch it again and again. It was just so cinematic. Like it was cinematic levels of animation. It was beautiful design. The music was awesome. The OP was wonderful. All the characters were so much fun. I loved the introduction of the Tanuki family.
Yep.
They reminded me of like one of my other favorite Ghibli films, Pompoko, which is kind of like with Tanukis that transform. But it was just so good and like I don't know. Every episode was so good. I feel like the ones that would stick out is the one with Harmy, the hamster-looking thing, the big.
Yeah, what episode was that?
I don't know numbers. I just know the romance with Yachiyo. That was really sweet. That episode was amazing. The wedding.
The wedding was really good.
And then I personally really loved Yachiyo's day off there wasn't a lot of dialogue in the show. It was kind of calming. That was like the Iyashiki episode of the season or the series because it was just her walking around Ginza, just memories and stuff. And I was like, this is nice. This is like a bit of a tone down, but I think we needed that for the show. Yeah, those are the ones that like stick out in my head that I really liked. But yeah, I love the show. It's so good.
Yeah, me and you both have like the same favorite episodes with that whole experience of just walking around like Ginza with your day off was so calming and relaxing. And you've mentioned this in this what the show does with like its dialogue and its scenarios where we have heartwarming moments, we have funny moments. That we built a Death Star. Like this show was all over the place, but like it never once did it feel like it was like too much. Like even the crazy, it's like, yeah, Ponko's a rocket scientist. Like, who cares? Like, she's actually like 90 years old and is like the smartest person in the world. Like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're being put in these situations and I'm having a blast with it. This is, along with Apothecary Diaries and along with Orb, I have a 3-way tie right now at the top of the list for anime of the year, but this is a 10. It's one of these shows where like I'm screaming from the mountaintops, but because it's not as popular as like other shows, I kind of feel like I'm the crazy old man and yelling at a cloud. But like this show is like crazy good. Like, it's like I think I put it in like my number 30 all time. Like it's like it might even be higher than that. Like I think the show is genius. Like from the writing to the music, people didn't really. Well, the OP was like they liked the dance, but they didn't like the song. I liked both. I thought the OP was like insane. I love how they change with it with the people that get introduced to the story as well. That's always like a fun little Easter eggs thing that they have going on with shows. So easy 10 for me. What about you, Cozette?
It's another 10-star banger.
Boom.
Just so like I would recommend this show to like everyone that watches anime because it had a bit of everything. Like I don't see what someone would not like about it. And I think yes, it is. I wish more people watched. Obviously, everybody in the Discord watched the show, but I think outside of us, I would love to get more people to watch it. But I think that's the case for a lot of originals, unfortunately, because most people go for like
the established property or something.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I highly recommend it. If for some reason you're watching this or listening and you haven't watched it, to watch it.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah,
I have nothing.
I'll say like I put it in like the same category for like best originals in the last couple of years with like A Place Further in the Universe, Odd Taxi, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Like if you like these cool, original, unique stories, add this to your list and watch it. And I'm guessing if you're listening to this review, you probably already did. So hopefully you liked it. I'll say that. So 2 10s from us. Moving on to our slice of life block. I'm just gonna go on record and say I think this was the best season of Slice of Life ever. I can't believe not only how many we got, but the quality of them. Like we didn't get a let's make a mug. Like we didn't get that. We got, to me, we were saying like the big 3. I think there's like 4 if you count Catcher in the Ballpark.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because I think that's a slice of life as well. But we had like 4 incredible slice of lives. It was everything I wanted. I'm starting out with my personal number one slice of life of the season. I'll be intrigued to hear what Cozette's pick is. But that's Mono. We literally had this conversation before we recorded, and I'd said them both. Made by the same author of Laid Back Camp. So coming into this, I had pretty high standards coming into this. I knew that the manga isn't as well received as something similar like Laid Back Camp, where the animation just absolutely elevates what they're experiencing. And Mono was no different. I thought I've read a couple of chapters of the manga and it's fine. It would probably be a little bit better now that I got introduced to the anime. That way I could put like their voices in my head. But I mean, this had a wonderful cast. Absolutely wonderful cast. It has some of the best sakuga of the entire year with, well, they're both involving skateboard. The skateboard with the cats and then them actually going down the skateboarding, down the hill. Like that scene was just brilliantly animated. Similar to Laid Back Camp, great background art, great OST. Not as good as Laid Back Camp, but it was still like a very high quality. So that's something I'm looking for in this style of show, and we got it. A couple of things I think it did better than something like Laid Back Camp. I thought it was funnier. I thought the show was like absolutely hilarious. Some of the characters in the cast that they used really meshed well together, and I found that their dialogue was really enjoyable. Especially Sakurako. She's my best girl favorite character in the entire show. I thought her sort of just like deadpanned emotion the entire season was so funny. And then like sort of the situation that she puts herself in was great. Like during the haunted house, she would like go into the traps on purpose. She was like an incredible downhill skateboarder. Like all these things, just like, where is this coming from? And it just added up to like a super enjoyable time. Didn't really get a lot of photography. We got some of that like the last episode where they did like the movie thing, which I thought was so well done. What an incredible way to end the season. They introduced one of the best characters last, which makes me think I'm pretty sure that this is going to get a second season. Like Laid Back Camp is getting a fourth season and it had a movie. It wouldn't surprise me if that property can carry this into additional, because I need to see more of Fuka. She was such a great character, and it sucks we only got her for one episode. Cozette, how about your thoughts? Who cares about my thoughts? What are your thoughts on, do you call it Mono or Mono?
I call it Mono because I think of, I don't know, just in my head it says Mono. But it's definitely hard not to compare this to Laid Back Camp because obviously it's the same mangaka. It's not like Laid Back Camp, but it was still enjoyable regardless. It's not my favorite slice of life this season, but I still really enjoyed it. And yeah, it wasn't, there wasn't a lot of educational content like Laid Back Camp was. It was kind of like, ooh, we're filming on a camera, and that was kind of it. They didn't really talk about, there was like one episode where they talked about how to shoot at night and stuff.
Yeah, they did like an exposure shot thing.
Yeah, and like that stuff I knew, but like I don't go to anime to be educated.
And we watched Insomniacs after school. We got the gist of it.
Yeah. And then like there's another show this season called Uchijin Mumu, which is like it's educational every episode. That's one of my favorite shows this season. But I still liked it because it was a fun slice of life show that had a bit of travel. It had a bit of slice of life, but also food. Every show had food content, to be quite honest. I think like even though there wasn't a lot of photography and videography content, educational content, the visuals kind of portrayed that because like the recording of like the skating scene, that was beautifully animated. That looked so awesome. Some of the angles they had in the show are not typically angles you would have in anime, especially when they had that camera in the corner and it looked like a bit of a fisheye. That was kind of cool. The only thing I didn't really care for is the mangaka storyline. I understand they needed an adult in the show to drive them
around. They needed a mom.
But, yeah. And like she was fun, but there was just too much about her, and it reminded me of Zatsu Tabi, which was happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. I just feel like if there was less of the mangaka storyline and her friends and more about the girls, that would have been great. But I understand they needed an adult to like drive them around and do that, like that cute pilgrimage they did for the Laid Back Camp manga. That episode was great. It was one of my favorites. But yeah, I just didn't care for the mangaka storyline that much. I understand why we needed her, and we needed Taisho the cat because Taisho's adorable.
So cool.
Yeah, so I see the point of the mangaka. I think there was just a bit too much of her because I just wanted more with the girls, to be quite honest. So I still enjoyed it regardless, and it started out queer, and then it just disappeared a little bit because the gray haired girl was like, "Ooh, like I have a crush on her," but then like it was never spoken of again, and I was like, "Oh, okay, sure, it's fine." Yeah, but still, it was cute. I really liked it. The little cameos of the laid back camp crew was awesome.
Fun.
We were all just like Leonardo DiCaprio being like,
yo.
maybe Trent can add in that gif somewhere.
I have to edit this episode, sadly.
Oh, well, anyways, that episode was awesome. The shaved dice episode, which was like last week's episode, I think.
It was like
that
11,
was awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't get to try Japanese shaved ice when I was there last time, and I regret it. So I'm definitely gonna do that when I go back. But I was like, I would totally do that.
It just tastes like normal shaved ice. It's
really,
yeah.
But it's not like the Korean one, because the Korean one's good.
When I got it, it tastes. Maybe it was just a bad spot that I went to, but I got shaved ice when I was in Kyoto hiking up whatever, and they had like shaved ice on the side, and it was fine.
Okay. Well, they did show in the episode there's different kinds.
That was cool. Yeah, there's some over there like 2,000 yen. I'm like, damn, for ice. Like I know it comes with like strawberries and stuff, but like,
yeah.
Damn.
Anyways, I love ice cream, so I was like, Anyways, I love that episode. That was really good. The laid back camp pilgrimage episode where they were going through the spots where they did the manga was cute. And the skating episode, that was like peak levels. I love that. So, but I am sad that the new girl was introduced in the last episode. I think she was a perfect addition.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hi, bye. See you maybe next season. So.
Because we didn't really have like a chaotic character like a Nadeshiko in Laid Back Camp, and then Fuka came around. It's like, just kidding, we do. We just have to wait another season. But
yeah, I was like, Gremlin alert. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, those last two episodes, because I was going back and forth with this and Food for the Soul as my favorite slice of life. I thought these last two episodes of Mono, whatever, just knocked it out of the park and cemented it to me as, I think it's like a top 5 slice of life of all time. Like I loved what this did, because not many slice of life like do like the Sakuga stuff that they did, and I just thought that was such a great like risk to take in this style of show, because like if they didn't include those scenes, I probably would have still liked it like the same amount. But the fact that they're just like going for it, I was like, hell yeah, make the coolest downhill. Like it was better than Skate, and Skate's about skateboarding. Like that's how good that scene was animated. Like it was awesome. So just to see that and be like, hell yeah, take these are like calculated risks that I really like in anime. So I give this a 9. If we get a second season, I can see this being like a 10. I just don't think I can give it a 10 yet, but like I'm pretty damn sure we're getting a second season eventually. There's enough content for it, and I hope to see more.
I am sitting on an 8, but I don't feel like an 8 right now. I just didn't like the show as much as, like, it's not in my slice of life top 5 for sure.
Sure.
So, but like for now, I'll say 8. But it's like an inconfident 8 right now. So, yeah.
Well, it's just like, like Laid Back Camp for me, like season 1, I didn't give it a 10. It took the whole series of what it got to realize once everything got fleshed out, I'm like, no, this is it. And so I feel like...
no, I gave it a 10 automatically.
Oh, did you? Okay, I lied. I did give it a 10. So, but like, I was trying to just be, like, what I'm trying to say is I liked Laid Back Camp even more with more content that we got, and I think Mono is setting up to be very similar, especially with Fuka at the end, where she is in the main cast. This show is going to get better. Like her as a main character or in the main cast would make the show better. So hope we get more. Hope to see her. Hope to see the whole gang. I agree with Cozette. I thought they hung around the mangaka storyline a little too much. It felt weird because it was like the girls, the mangaka, then the girls again. So it was like sandwiched, and it felt like the episode structure seemed a little off. So outside of that, loved it. But we're gonna move on to what I'm going to assume is Cozette's favorite slice of life of this season, and that is Food for the Soul. I also like. I mean, they're neck and neck. This show is so good. One thing I loved about it and we'll bring up Laid Back Camp Alive because to me it's like my absolute staple. That show uses the ukulele a lot for background music. So Food for the Soul just added a character who plays ukulele for the background music. I was like, that's genius. Like more shows should do this because I feel like it's pretty common to have a guitar hobby and then you could easily transition that into a ukulele. This cast, I liked it. I didn't like it as much as Mono. Nana's character was a little wonky for me, but then like what's her name? The Higa, like the smaller girl who does the dance, like she was like
she's the
like,
best character.
I think she was like my number 2 or 3 character of the season. Like I loved what she brought. Shinon, I like her too. Like she reminds me a little bit of me because like she's technically like the president of the club, but she probably shouldn't. And sometimes I feel that way, especially in like the Discord podcast and everything like that. So like I liked her character because I was like, I kind of relate to you, girl. Because sometimes I just want to be goofy, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to put the big boy pants on. So I liked her character because she kind of did the same thing. There's like the last episode where she's like so honest with them. She's like, I want to be honest with you guys. I don't want to clean. But now that I said that out loud, I'm going to do it. Everyone's just like, you didn't have to say that. And I love that. That was just an absolute riot. The food looked pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like great, but it was good. I think it got what it was trying to do through pretty well. But yeah, this was and the fact that and they're in college, like that was awesome. Seeing the interactions between these girls, if it was in high school versus college, I think makes a huge difference. And it was just great. So I hope to see more of this. I don't know if I'm gonna read the manga, maybe, but I think it's like pretty caught up, so I don't know how much I'm going to like dive into it. But Cozette, what's your thoughts on this one?
Look, I'm a foodie, so obviously the food show is my favorite. I love cooking. I love food. Is it my favorite food cooking slice of life ever? No.
What is?
It's probably. I love Sweetness and Lightning. I really love. There's a ramen one I love. It's not even that good of a show. It's like a 7, but I love it so much. But yeah, I don't because I think the thing is with the cooking, it was okay. Like Laid Back Camp had better cooking than this.
Yep.
It looked very simple and amateurish, but also like these are girls who like just made up a club that like they were just kind of cooking amateurly anyway. So I was like, okay, so I don't expect them to be chefs or anything, but like. It was fine from a cooking perspective. The food was fine as well. It wasn't anything that I was like, ooh. I think the pizza episode was probably the best one. There was a pizza episode, right? There probably was.
Was there a pizza episode?
I feel like there must have been.
Let us know in the comments if there was a pizza episode.
Or am I thinking of like...
This is what happens when you watch like 20 seasonals. It's just like sometimes you just forget things happen. So.
And like I watch a million slices of life about cooking.
Yeah,
so
right.
There's a pizza episode somewhere. Oh, and also like Silver Spoon. That's incredible cooking. So like
yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of like cooking slice of life, it's not up there for me, but I think what made the show top for me is the girls. Like you say you like the Mono girls, I think these girls are personally my favorite because Higa was awesome. I love Higa with her little like lamb hoodie. She just had like such a sparkling, charming personality. And the other girls were like fine, but I think Higa just made it just so much better. And there was no like annoying mangaka on the side. So I really liked the show. I think the girls were like so much fun. And I actually like the pink-haired girl, Sakura, the girl that owned like the farming. She looked like Nadeshiko.
We got like the 1 or 2 episodes of her or whatever.
Yeah, I wanted more of her.
Yeah, she was cool.
Wanted more of her. She looked like Nadeshiko. I think she was so sweet. When she sent like that box of leaves to her, I was like, that's hilarious. I call her Nadeshiko in my head, but she is Sakura. And she's the only one that I actually remembered her name besides Higa, to be quite honest. Nana was fine. I think her anxiety kind of gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really liked the show. It was fine. It was a good slice of life. I think my favorite episodes was the one where they went to Mako's hometown, where like they got to cook on like a traditional Japanese, like the pit with the sand and the overhanging pot. Like that was really cool. I really loved that episode a lot. But I think like the camaraderie with the girls and their chemistry, that's probably much why I like this more than the other slice of life. But like, I don't love it by a huge mark. Like they're very close.
Very close.
Those slice of life this season. So I really enjoyed it. I think if anyone likes cooking, or food, this show's for you.
Yep.
It was really nice to watch. I mean, it was a really busy it was like what slice of life Saturday. Like
everything
show
was on Saturday.
Everything was on Saturday, so I was always behind. This was one of them. I was behind a lot of shows this season, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was nice to watch, and yeah.
What'd you give it?
Gave it an 8 too.
Okay, I give this a 9. I think it's just below Mono. I think it did some things better than it. But I think we have the same thing. Which cast did we like better? I like Mono. You like this one. I think that's probably the determining factor on which one you're going to like more, because I do feel like if you're watching one, you should be watching the other. If you're not, get on it. But they seem like the type of show where it's like you're probably watching both, and then whichever cast you like the best, you're probably going to like that one better. So 9 from me, 8 from Cozette. Moving on to our third one, Zatsu Tabi, That's Journey. I think the show was made for us. I think this show was made for people who like to travel, and like to travel specifically in Japan.
Yeah.
Because I got so many like new recommendations for things I want to do when I go back. And it was also cool to see things that when I was there, I saw. So I was like, oh, cool. I could see in an anime version. I think I don't know. I feel like if you're not like if you don't like the idea of like going and traveling a lot, especially in Japan, which is the thing I do the most when I'm over there, is like I'm in a new city like every day. Maybe you won't like it, but I love just like the different journeys that she went on every time. I loved her friendship with Koyomi. The mangaka relationship it was all right. I think it could definitely be fleshed out with more content. That was with Fuyune and Riri, I believe her name is. And so like there was like a hint of something there, but like we didn't really get anything. But I just love like the travel aspect. I just like what it portrayed, because not many we have slices of life about travel, but I don't think it was like as extensive as this, because this was so many different destinations in just a 12 episode season. So Cozette, your thoughts on Zatsu Tabi?
This was definitely the Iyashiki show that was like calming. There was drama, but it was like because of travel that was drama. But yeah, this is definitely a travel show if you like traveling in Japan or planning to.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing about this show is that it showed how realistic it is traveling in Japan, because it's not as easy as everyone thinks. It is easy relatively, but like
once you get out of Tokyo and stuff, it's much different.
Like you could, when you go out in the burbs, like there's different methods of travel. Like you might be on a train, you might be on a bus, you might be in like a random van with one old man. Like and if you miss a bus, then you're screwed. If you go on the wrong bus, you're also screwed. Yep. So I think it just was so accurate about how travel is, and I really loved when they cut to show like where they're going on the map, because like I was actually Googling like where the heck are they, like in terms of like where they were in Japan. But I think it was a really nice show. It felt like laid back camp, but without the camping, because they were traveling in different areas. But I thought it was so fun, and I think Chica?
Yep, Chica.
Chica, yeah. She had a great personality. She doesn't travel like I do. She winged it.
That's me.
I think there was like an episode where she's like, this is a bit too structured than compared to what I think it was when they went to Kyoto, but she was like, this is a bit more structured than what I usually do. And I'm like, no, this is like, I already planned my trip for Japan already. Like, yeah, I have my itinerary.
Crazy.
I already have my itinerary set up already. So that's the person I am. But I think what I loved about watching the show is that there's a few things in my itinerary that was featured in the show, and I was like, sweet, cool, I can see it in animated form. But I did really like they went to areas that are not the main touristy hubs. 100%. Like obviously they showed Kyoto and like Shibuya and stuff, but they showed like a lot of outside of the city areas, and I thought that was really cool. They even talked about the different dialects. Like I think they misunderstood some people when they ordered stuff at the restaurant. So it was such a nice travel show. I think like the plot wasn't anything mind-blowing. Like it was fine. The girls were like, the friends were okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
They didn't stick out to me. I think the two older mangakas, they had a bit of a chemistry thing, so that was kind of nice. Their little fight was kind of dumb, but
yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I don't know. It was fine. I think like between like the three, and not to pit them against each other, but I think like this one was fun from a relaxing standpoint. Yep. This was educational, the educational slice of life that I needed. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. It made me excited to obviously go back in September, but it makes me want to plan my third trip.
Right?
because there's places on that they show in the show that I technically can't go to on my next trip because I planned it out already.
Yeah.
But
You can always just not do that.
no, because the things I want to do are already locked in.
Free
So,
will is a lie.
So I just need to go again. That's
there. See, that's smart. Be like, I'd love to, but how about the third time I go over, we'll do it or whatever.
So yeah, Zatsu Tabi, I'm gonna go again probably.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna go back to Japan. Yeah, so maybe 2027 I'll go back.
Right on.
But yeah, honestly, it just made me jealous how easy it is to travel within Japan. Easy to a degree, but it's still pretty
light
easy
years ahead of.
Yeah. So I loved it. It was just so much fun. So
yeah, I think the best thing for me was showcasing the non-touristy spots, because I think if you ever plan to go to Japan, do the touristy things. Like, there's a reason why they're tourist spots, but it's like a whole nother world when you get out into like outside of Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka. And like, to me, that's my favorite part of visiting Japan. I had like some of the best experiences with people and nature and stuff like that when you get outside of Tokyo. Well, not to say that Tokyo and stuff isn't great, it is, but it's just, there's so much more to Japan than I think the most. I mean, if you go to Japan, Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka is like the three. Maybe you go to like Hiroshima if you're from America or something like that, but go to Kanazawa, go to Himamatsu or whatever it's called, go to the Kansai region, go to Sendai, go north or whatever. It's just like, there's so much to explore, and that's what the show did, and that's why I really liked it. I think, but like compared to the other ones, I don't think the cast was that great. Like, music didn't really stand out. Background art was like fine. It was just, I guess to me, the thing that I really liked about it was like, I mean, it makes sense. It was the journey to wherever they were going, because my favorite, I just remember this, my favorite scene in the entire show was when Chika and Koyomi were going to a shrine. One knew that it was closed. The other one was pretty sure it was probably going to be closed, but they didn't want to tell the other person that, because they wanted to experience, part of the journey is like just being with like somebody. And now they have a story for the rest of their life where they were walking to the shrine and they did all this playing and they got there and it was closed. And it's like, that is part of the journey. Like, those moments are just as good, if not better, than seeing, Tokyo Skytree Tower, going to see Akihabara. Like, it's those moments you build with the chemistry and the people that you love that can make the trip so much better. And I love that scene. That was such a cool scene. And it's something that I guess I don't know if I've ever seen in like a travel anime. So I just want to give a shout to that. I give the show an 8. It lacked in some things, but I think it got the purpose of what it was trying to do through well enough.
I also, there's a trend here. I also gave it an 8. The last life, all 3 slice of life, but it'll be different the next one. All 3 slices of life, I gave an 8, because there's things I like, things I'm like, about. I would love another season. Take me other places. I would watch another season immediately.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out the last episode when she like actually made her manga. I think it was a really sweet manga that she did, and she was so proud of herself. And I just want to give her. That was really sweet. It was a really sweet manga. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. That reminded your favorite episode reminded me of the one where like they went to like they thought it was a restaurant, but it wasn't. Wasn't that an episode? Pretty sure that might have. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making up in my mind because all the slice of life.
You sure that happened?
Yeah. It's been a rough season for me, guys.
Yeah.
So, anyways, it's an 8. But the next slice of life.
Is this the one? Is this your favorite?
The next one.
Okay, the next one's Catcher in the Ballpark, or Catch Me at the Ballpark, whatever. If this is your favorite, you go first. If it's not your favorite, you can pass it back to me.
Favorite slice of life.
Go,
I mean,
I thought
I thought it was food for the soul, but like from episode 1 to the last episode, it was just banger after banger after banger. Catch Me at the Ballpark was like everything that I just did not expect. It was one of the biggest surprises this season, besides a few other shows, but it had a mix of everything, where it was funny, but there was a slice of life at the workplace, so it was funny. There was some romantic moments, there was some drama. it made me really miss being at a ball game, but like
Yeah.
obviously I've not gone to a ball game, but I know that it just showcased the like atmosphere of a Japanese ball game. And I was really worried the show was just going to be about the beer girls. Like that's why I was like I had very 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 low expectations because I was like if this is just about the beer girls, I don't think I'm going to like the show that much because it might be repetitive, but I just love that like there was so much really good character development. Like we got to meet so many people at the stadium and most of their storylines were fleshed out pretty well. And that's what I loved about the show. I mean, Yuriko is great. Sunshiro is my favorite character, but it was just a funny, heartfelt sports show. It had some sports. I think if you like sports shows, you might like this one. Maybe.
I
It was more slice of life.
I would say it takes place at a sporting event, but this is not a sports anime.
There was some games. There was some pitches and some these things.
Yeah, but like it's. I wouldn't say
there was single thrown around.
For the baseball nerds out there, if you're hoping that there's like some war breakdown between starting pitchers, you're not going to get that. But if you want to see some jack dudes hit a home run, you're gonna see like that. Like you're gonna see that like 7 times.
Yeah. Well, anyways, I think the premiere episode was like really shocked. Like it basically showed what the tone of the show was going to be. I think the first episode was about the security guard and the kid was lost, and then we flash forward, and then that kid's a security guard now. So the show is like so heartfelt, and there's just so many awesome characters, like the about to retire baseball player, and then the one that did retire, which is technically Sunshiro. Retired beer girls. We saw the wives, the pregnant wives.
I like the pregnant wife.
The food people, the announcer girl. Like there was just everybody in the baseball ecosystem, all in like 12 episodes. It was just so good. Okay, anyways, you go.
No, I'll say if you go to Japan and you like baseball, go see a baseball game. It is so much fun. It's electric. It's not like an MLB game. It is. I wouldn't say it's like a party, but it definitely has a more upbeat feeling than a traditional baseball game. Highly recommend going to any was it the Nippon Professional League, the NPB or whatever it's called. Go to one of their games. I went to the Tokyo Giants game just because Tokyo Dome is so easy to get to. Highly recommended. This show, the cast was great. I think that's like the biggest thing with me, where we had so many different storylines happening. So like each episode was probably like 3 7-minute segments with different cast. Usually each episode featured Ruiko and the main dude, and then the other 2 segments were sort of like the sides of the other side stories going on, which was great. But yeah, like you said, like the Nagisa, who was like the voice of the stadium, and like her having a crush on like a baseball player, and then that baseball player saying like, you know, I kind of like older girls, and like they flirted, and the last episode was sort of like kind of a confession, kind of not, but it seemed like they both kind of understood each other. Sunshiro, MVP of the show. That was just having him seem like he's a mascot, and then having an entire like episode dedicated to him and his friendship with the other guy was like, oh, that was like, that had a lot of heart. Like that wasn't a joke. Like that was, I mean, it was still funny. Like, don't get me wrong. Like to find out that like Sunshiro is the person, like that's a fun twist. But like it had heart, it had soul, like the camaraderie of like everybody at like the baseball stadium all cheering for like the same team, has that like community vibe that's like really fun with sports. And I thought they nailed it. I don't know if there's anything like really negative to say. I just thought this was like a really well structured show. Definitely a surprise. I wasn't super high on it to begin with, and there's another show that was kind of similar to that. I was never going to drop it, but like, you know, like Tony was like super high on this. I'm like, yeah, this show's okay. And then as I got more into it, I was like, yeah, this show's actually pretty damn good, isn't it? So I was a big fan of what we got. Do you have anything else you want to talk about with this one?
It's my second recommendation of the spring season. What? Yeah, it was my technically my 4th favorite show of the season. But my second top recommendation of the
I mean,
season because I can't recommend
yeah.
can't recommend the other show because it's continuing. So yeah. Anyways, 9 out of 10, guys.
9!
9 out of 10.
Nice.
I can't give it a 10, but I might change my mind. It might be a 9.5 one day, but it's just I loved it so much. It was just so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. I gave it an 8, solid 8. I don't know what's missing. It delivered what it wanted to deliver, and what it delivered was awesome. So, big fan. Speaking of shows that I wasn't high on to begin with, and then slowly grew, and that's Ninkoro, a ninja assassin under one roof. I didn't expect this show to be like as dark as it was. Like the punchline is like murder, and so, but when it's in the context of like cute girls doing murder, I don't know, something about that was like off, and it wasn't clicking with me like at all. And this was like kind of on my debate to drop. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was like a scene or just watching it weekly. I just kind of really liked the core group of Satoko, Konoha, and Marin by the end of it, where I was like, no, these three are like a great team. Like, I'm having a lot of fun when they're on screen together. And the last couple of episodes was like mostly just them all together. And I think that's where I liked it the most. The punchline of like, haha, stab didn't like get me, but it was like everything else that the show did, I really enjoyed. So this was so hit and miss because like I just didn't find this show. I think it was trying to be funny at times, and I don't know if I ever laughed.
Yeah.
But like, I still really liked it. This is a really weird show for me because, like I said before, had no clue of where I thought I was going to go. I was leaning more towards dropping, and I actually by the end of it raised my score. So, Cozette, your thoughts on Ninkoro?
That's so funny because I'm the opposite.
I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
I think it's Stockholm Syndrome. I legit think it's Stockholm Syndrome. Like, I was like, no, I like them. Sunk cost fallacy. It has to be good.
Yeah, because I remember when we did our initial, like, reaction, I think the first episode I was like, ooh, this is really cool. And then as it went on, I started to get, not bored, but to the brink of it, because it did feel a tiny bit repetitive, because it was always
100%.
like, evil person comes, and then boom, dead, leaves. But I think, so I think the main story of, like, the camaraderie with the girls, I think that was really fun. It was a little pervy at times, because she is pretty young. So it was a little bit of a pervy show, so I can see why Preston said it's not a gym-watching show.
No, I did not watch this at the gym.
Yeah. The one episode that shocked a lot of us was when she had to assassinate that kid, which we don't know if she actually did.
I know the answer.
Was it revealed?
Preston read the manga and he told me.
Why didn't they show it in the show?
I don't know. Because I guess from what Preston said, they changed a lot of the anime. He said like the structure of the episode, like the point A to point B, like the end goal was the same, but like what they did in the middle was like anime original essentially.
Yeah. Okay. What happened to the kid?
So spoiler alert, manga, they killed her. Yeah, right? I was like, I feel like it.
But like,
I think it makes more sense if they didn't kill her, especially with how Konoha's character is by the end of it, with like caring for Satoko so much. I think that would have been a great starting point of changing her character from like lethal assassin to like not as lethal assassin.
I mean, she might have just like, I don't know. That makes me feel even weird about the show.
Yeah.
Anyways, I get it. It's her job. I get it. It's like John Wick. John Wick has to kill people. Fine. But she was just a student that didn't do anything wrong besides like get good grades. Yeah. So that's why
it sucks, right?
Thing. It sucks. But what didn't suck is there was a real gay couple.
Yes, there was.
That was the best part of the show. They were such a cute couple, and I really enjoyed it. And it was just so funny how they're like, we shouldn't hang out because our house is gonna get beaten up again, or like we're gonna get attacked again. I just thought that was so funny. But yeah, I think near the end of it, I actually was really behind the show a few days ago. I think I was like 5 episodes behind. So that shows me how like I wasn't really interested. But it was still fun. I think it had its goofy moments. I can see why some people might like it. And it had a bit of slice of life moments.
Oh,
So,
for sure.
but yeah, the whole like killing that kid just rubs me the wrong way.
I didn't
But
like it. Did not like it one bit.
yeah, I mean, killing like the people that are gonna kill him, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I get that she's a contract killer, so I kind of get it. I don't know. It just didn't feel right to me.
No, I'm in
So,
the same boat. I don't know. It seems a little off with how her character finishes the season. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally, but um yeah, like you said, the couple I thought was great. They didn't like beat around the bush either. I also love like their like problems that they have because Kuro, the master, is like unemployed the entire season, and Yuriko seems like she's doing pretty damn well for herself, but she's always like, "You should get a job." Like, I can only support you for so much. Like, hint, hint, wink, wink. So I like their like relationship problems. It was done in like a funny way, but it was cool just to see like the representation. Like they weren't beating around the bush. It was right in your face. Like they even made like a thing where it's like your partner is a woman. It's like, yeah, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, cool. They actually just like, no, like we're not beating around the bush. This is it. So props to that. Like the cast a lot by the end of it. It was weird. I don't know. This is one of those shows like if you dropped it after one episode, I get it. If you watched it all and you gave it a 9, I get it. It has so many things that like I could find people liking a lot and then also hating, but I like shows mostly, so I give this an 8, low 8, but it's still an 8. I think it was better than a 7.
a 7.
Okay,
I gave it. Did I give it a? I don't know. It's
tell me.
definitely 7. It's 7 vibes. I don't remember what I put on Mal anymore.
Okay.
It's 7 vibes for me though. Compared to everything else, it's
Okay.
definitely on the lower end for me. But 7's still good. So, yeah.
Right on. Okay, but I've been waiting to talk about this next show since I finished it. I finished it today, so I have some questions, and that's Kowloon Generic Romance. So coming into this, we already knew that it was going to be an anime original ending. We knew that they were putting 13 volumes of the manga, if I'm not mistaken, into 13 episodes. So it was probably going to be a little fast. And that's where I got lost. I found this show. First of all, props to the naming convention of the show, Generic Romance. I thought the romance of the show was terrible. I don't even understand. I get like why they added it, but like this is a mystery. Like this is a mystery where it just happened that two people had sex once and they were maybe engaged. But like I was coming into this thinking that this was going to be a romantic show. It's not at all. I actually really did not like Kudo by the end of it. I kind of feel like his character kind of missed the entire point of the show, but I want to get your thoughts because how I viewed what Kowloon was sort of not letting go of the past. I feel like that was like the core central message of the whole thing. Like instead of Kudo moving on that his ex-wife died, he would rather kind of like chase this phantom of somebody who like looks like her. I think by the end of it, he realized that the person that he was looking at was not the person that he was expecting, and sort of like he realized like what he was doing, and then sort of everybody else's like problems within the city had like an issue of like letting go. But my issues with the show was sort of like how the mystery was like put together, where I felt like in an episode we were just watching them doing paperwork at their job, and then the next moment it's like Kowloon is actually like this phantom city that doesn't exist. I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Like there were some like there were some hints and stuff sprinkled, but like I didn't think it was enough for me to like get that wave of like, yo, what are we dealing with? Because I knew that this was a mystery the whole time, but I didn't realize it was going to be like a mystery like this. And then sort of the metaphor that they were going with what Kowloon was. So that was my biggest issue. It just made it so the show was not as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. I thought the show was going to be like a lot of fun. Maybe it's my fault for thinking that this was going to be a romance. I know it has the tag, but I really don't think that this was a romance like at all. But I don't know. It's just like one of those things where it's like, Kudo is fighting his whole relationship, and the whole time I'm just like, Reiko should be with Yaomei the whole time. Like, like they're the ship, right? Like everyone's on board with this ship, right? So, those are my initial like thoughts on it. How about you, Cozette?
Yeah, honestly, it was my biggest disappointment of the season. Like, there are shows I rated lower, but I knew they were gonna be bad.
Yep.
So I went in optimistically, yes, knowing that they're gonna rush it for 13, but I'm like, maybe they'll do it well in 13. Who knows? But I think, yeah, it was definitely a victim of a very short timeline. I think it could have benefited from at least a 2 core
100%.
to kind of to flesh out the storyline, but also the characters. I think it had so many of the elements that I would like in a show, like the mystery, the characters, the adult cast, the sci-fi kind of elements. Like, they had everything that I would have loved in a show, and it was done. They did what they could in the 13.
Yeah,
but
I would agree with that.
yeah, it's just I was just really disappointed, and I think I'm curious how the live action will be. But in terms of generic romance, I think they named it because after she died, what Kudo went through was like a generic version with Reiko, or like the generic Reiko, so like the plain Reiko that wasn't like the first one, and that's like the generic romance. I think that's how I interpret it. Obviously there was the romance between the two guys, which was kind of cool. I really liked how progressive the show was, because there was like intersex person, there was a queer person, there was someone that I don't know if he was trans or like on the brink of it.
I feel like he was just like a cross-dresser.
Okay. Anyways, it was very progressive with the characters. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. Yaomei was amazing.
Yaomei is the goat.
But it was just so cool, and I think like I personally feel like I need to rewatch it. I think I will
read it.
Yeah, like that's also the thing. I can't read.
Same.
I can read actually. Manga I can read because there's pictures. I just so bummed out how like it had so much stuff that I like, but the execution as a whole wasn't great. And like the ending, like it like they tried to tie a knot on it, and in a way it did kind of make sense, but like I was like, what about this? What about this? What about this? It
didn't feel fleshed out. It just felt like they got to the point and they're like, all right, we're done. Yeah. It's like, what? I'm looking around.
It literally felt like the last season of Game of Thrones. 100%. Like that's how it felt like. And I remember our first reaction to the first episode, and we were like on it. We're like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. And then after that, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really disappointed with the show. I think the look of it was amazing. The animation was really cool. I really liked the voice acting. Like all of it was just so cool. It's just that the story, like not the full story, like the story that we got.
Yep.
It could have been just so much better. So.
Yeah, I think I agree. When I see stuff like with Kudo, and they had like that earthquake scene, and they were like panicking, and he like tells Reiko to like never leave my side. Like it was like a really romantic moment. It's like, oh shit, like we're progressing. And then it kind of felt like then nothing happened. And they had that earlier with like, you know, like he kissed her, they hooked up, they had like all these like different romantic things. And then when they get to work, it's like they're strangers. I was like, come on guys, we're past this. Like I understand that like Kudo is like fighting some emotions, but it felt like those scenes were sort of nulled because there was no resolution to their action. It's always just like Kudo being timid when he's not in like the heat of the moment. So I didn't like the romance aspect of it, and then the pacing was just really rushed. I felt like it's one of those things where like I know what they're trying to do and I understand the message, but how we get there is important, and I felt like that's where the show missed. So I would love to see like manga readers what they say about the anime adaptation, because like it's not like poorly rated at the moment, but I feel like it's, I don't know. I gave this is like a really low 6 for me. I just felt like it was a little hard to understand. I didn't like the romance. The mystery was like really rushed. So I feel like they could have done some stuff better, but the show did great. Reiko was awesome. Yaomei was a blast every time. Her voice actress killed it. I do like the overall message of like what Kowloon like represented, but I feel like we needed 12 more episodes to have other stuff fleshed out. So low 6 from me.
Which Reiko did you like?
I didn't like the old one at all. The new one was so much cooler.
Okay.
You like the old one better? Like the old one had
No, I have no opinion just because I just want to know more about, because we didn't get enough about Reiko A than B. So, but I thought she's the one that Kudo fell in love with. I think that's the romantic part of the show. He's just a man living in nostalgia, and there's no romantic moments with Reiko B because she's not Reiko A. So even though they have those like chemistry moments, he's having nostalgia thinking about the first Reiko.
Yeah.
But not the second.
And that was like the whole. That was like the
yeah,
whole thing at the last episode. Like
yeah. So that's kind of why I was like, I like once the show kept going, I was like, okay, this is definitely not a romance. Besides like the two guys, like there's not really much romance here besides like nostalgia. I gave it an 8.
Oh wow, that's way higher than I thought you were gonna give it.
Yeah, because even though I was disappointed, I think objectively the show was still like I still liked it, and I think I liked the story. It just could be a 10. Like it has everything that I could give. Like I could give it a 10 if it was just too core. It would definitely be a 10 for me because I just like the elements of the show. I like the story about Kudo stuck in nostalgia, and everyone's kind of like trapped in that. Like I thought that was a really cool concept. So that's kind of why I gave it an 8 because it's different. I don't think we get a lot of sci-fi romance like this.
Yeah,
and it kind of reminds me of like a Black Mirror episode. So yeah, that's why I gave it an 8. It had stuff I liked.
I was gonna say for something like this, if there's a movie called like the Tunnel to Goodbyes or something like that, like the Exit of Tomorrow, Tunnel to Goodbyes, it's something along that line, but that is a sci-fi romance that deals with like time that I liked how they executed that in that movie a little bit better than what they did in the show in terms of like the sci-fi romance aspect. So
I gave that for Secret Santa last year.
Nice.
I think.
I watched it on a plane because Delta had it on their like in-flight movies. So I watched it when I went to no idea, somewhere on a plane. So good movie. Okay, before we get to our last show that we watched, we're gonna go through the shows that we individually watched that we both didn't watch these. So we're gonna talk about shows that we liked and the shows that we dropped. Cozette is up first. Take it away.
I actually didn't drop that many shows. I dropped Bye Bye Earth. Guys, I tried. I was ambitious to continue the show.
Kevin Feige can only do so much.
At one point, I was 5 episodes behind, and I was 10. Like I was so behind at one point in the spring. I was like, Bye Bye Earth does not deserve my investment of time, so I just didn't continue. And unfortunately, I also dropped Witch Watch, which like it. I think it's just the humor didn't connect with me. I feel like a past me would have loved Witch Watch. I think at this point in time, during this moment of my life, I just didn't vibe with it. Maybe like later down the road, I might vibe with it. It's not a bad looking show. I think the OP is one of my favorites of the season.
It's so good.
Yeah, I just couldn't connect with it at this point. I would give it a second chance one day. So, yeah, those are the only 2 shows I dropped. The first show I know Pete dropped. It was My Dear Detective. And I remember your feedback was like it was a mystery show, but like it was the kind of mystery show where like it doesn't give you the clues to figure out. We don't get to play.
We just watch.
Did it? But the thing is that like I don't mind that in a mystery show because a lot of the mystery shows I watch, like you don't actually know, you can't actually figure it out yourself, and I'm totally fine with that. Unfortunately, with the show, Kageyama is the only person that carried the butler. He was the best character of the show. He was so awesome. I think Reiko was fun. It was nice to see a girl who had like living 2 different lives of like an heiress and a detective. She was a bit of a ditz though, and she never actually figured it out, which I guess is the point of the show. Like Kageyama's the one to figure out all the mysteries. But in general, it's just a goofy mystery show. It's like a low 7 for me. It was fine. I was behind, but I still kept going. I wasn't completely bored, so that's kind of why I kept going. Unfortunately for Miyano Mamoru, I hated his character. And I think that's the whole point. His character was so damn annoying, but that was like the whole point of the show. So, and he was really good at it. I gotta say, he was really good at playing an annoying character. But some of the mysteries were fun. They were cool. Like, I don't know, it was a fine show. I don't recommend it, but if you just want to watch a goofy mystery, sure, try it out. The surprise of the season for me was Once Upon a Witch's Death, which like I thought was going to be the Violet Evergarden of the season, because the first episode was like very emotional, but it was actually one of those shows that was a bit of a balance throughout the whole series. It was funny, it was emotional, it was goofy, sometimes actually scary. There was some body horror in it.
Ooh.
But I really liked the show. I think with Meg, it was like a coming of age show where she's just an immature witch, and then she learns to like hone into her powers, but she learns about the deeper meaning of having these powers and like the responsibility that comes with it. She has a lot of like elder witches that kind of like mentor her throughout the show. Meg is a character that I feel like you either like her or you hate her. I've said this in the Discord, but I felt like if she was a boy, I would absolutely hate her. Because she was definitely a little pervy, she was immature, she was obnoxious. But there was something about her personality that I was like, you know what? She's fun. She's a spunky kid.
She's fun.
She's a young kid. She'll grow out of it, maybe. But I really like seeing her journey of like coming into her own being, and then when we got to the finale, I was like, oh, that's it. So I hope there's another season. I don't know if that spoiled it for anyone that I want a season 2. But I thought it was fine. I would probably watch a season 2 if it happened. I just really liked how each episode she was kind of helping people or a person with their magical powers. It didn't make me cry all the time. I think there was maybe like the first episode and maybe like another episode in the season, but it's not as sad as I thought it was going to be. So heads up to you if you want to watch it. But yeah, I gave it an 8. It was fine. And shout out to her familiars, the little like owl and the fox. They were awesome. I love them so much. But yeah, Meg's fine. She did not she always proposed to her best friend, and her best friend still rejected her, so I feel very, very sad about that. But she was kind of queer. She liked girls, she liked guys. That was fun. So this is another show that was slightly queer, but not really. But yeah, I gave it an 8. I still enjoyed it, pretty much. And that's all I watched, because I kept my watch list pretty tight.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to take up some time. I'll go quick on the shows that I dropped. Dinner Table Detective. I like playing the mystery. The show didn't let me do that, so I dropped it. Lazarus. I came into this thinking it was going to be the second coming of Bebop. By episode 7, I don't know what the hell was going on. I just thought the show was like pretty bad, so dropped that. G-Cucks. I'm the wrong person to discuss G-Cucks because it sounds like this show was made for Gundam fans. I like Witch from Mercury. I'm not a Gundam fan. I like Witch from Mercury. So, it was not for me. I kind of thought like the team battle aspect, like this underground team battle aspect thing, was kind of stupid. Everything else was pretty cool, but I thought that whole conflict was like really dumb. They're fighting like underneath New York City with Gundams, and it's like, how does nobody know about this? Oh no, it was weird. Witch Watch. I think I wouldn't have dropped this if this was one core, but I thought it was like a 7 out of 10 comedy, and I don't want to watch 2 cores of 7 out of 10. So that was pretty much it. From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. I knew I was going to drop the show from the get-go, but I thought I would give it a shot. It was one of those things where it's like, he's the old teacher, all of his pupils are girls, and they're like, I don't know, 18. And he's like, no, I don't want to marry you. But then all the pupils are like, I want to marry my old master. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this shit. So maybe it changes. But after the first episode, I said, nope. So I dropped it after 1. And then Killing Slimes, something like Witch Watch. I liked the first season. It was like a 7. But then when I started watching season 2, I'm like, oh, this is the exact same thing as season 1. I was like, I had enough. So it was like one season of that show was fine. So I dropped that. Other shows I did not drop. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but we're on a time crunch. Uma Musume Cinderella Grey. Fantastic show. Oguri Cap is now the second best horse girl in Uma Musume. I didn't like it as much as season 2. I thought this was more of like, what I liked more about season 2 was like, it was like a pure sports anime. Like the competitiveness and all that stuff was in the show. This was more of like figuring out who Oguri is and then sort of her come up. And we see her races, and then she dominates. And then the last episode, she finally loses. So I think I'm on like the second core more than the first core. I gave it an 8. It was still really solid. Harin season 2. Man, this show was great. Season 1, people didn't like the ending. I thought that was silly. The show is so fluffy the entire time. why wouldn't it have the most fluffy ending of all time? So Cozette, to spoil it for you, they get married, they have kids, Rido turns into an astronaut. So I was just like,
Isn't she like 12?
well, it's a time skip.
Oh.
They don't get married in high school. There's a time skip, and you see them when they're
Okay.
older, and it's like, and like Haren's having a conversation with her grandkid. And I thought that was like really cute. It's just funny that Rido is an astronaut, but who cares? Like the show's fluffy and fun, like, and that's what it was. So I gave that an 8 as well. Windbreaker season 2, I think it did a much better job at the interpersonal relationships than like the hand-to-hand combat. When I'm watching Windbreaker, I'm watching it for the hand-to-hand combat. Nothing personal, but like, I don't like the cast is fun and everything like that, but I'm watching Windbreaker for the fights, like straight up. So the fights were not as good as season 1. I gave it an 8. I still thought it was really good. I think the character's name is Tsubaki, who is like the cross-dressing character. I thought that whole episode with the grandma and grandpa and like sort of, you know, accepting, like it's okay to accept who you are, even if it's against the standard or the norm. I thought that was like a really well done episode. And then Shoshiman. The first part where we had the arson stuff was kind of weird, but it kind of like solidified that like what's her name? Yuki, whatever her name is an absolute psychopath. So like that was awesome to see from that. But the show gets an 8 because of its final arc, or the final part or whatever of season 2. That was so well done. It's a flashback to sort of how they became tighter, where Jogoro, I think his name is, was like almost killed. And so we get to see like why he's in the hospital, who tried to kill him, why is this random high schooler being targeted, and sort of how that all came together in the 3-4 episodes that we had of it was incredible. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I just thought how it fleshed itself out was like, that was the best part of both seasons of Shoshiman. Like, I guess the plot twist in episode 1 or season 1 was incredible too, don't get me wrong, but in terms of like actual like arcs, this arc was fan freaking tastic. I would give like the first part a 7 and the second part a 9, so it gets an 8. But like, yeah, that how season 2 ended was incredible. Like Shoshiman was so good. It reminded me a lot of like Peak Hyoka, where the mystery is just so well crafted. So
I'm binging it. I will finish it eventually.
Okay. Yes. If anything, the last like 4 episodes of season 2 were so good, so
Okay.
well
I'm
done.
still
Like
the arson part.
the
so-
arson part, it's like hit or miss, because I do think it dragged a little bit. I think it's like 1 episode too long, to get the message. Because like the first season was 10 episodes, and season 2 was 12. I feel like they probably could have done season 2 with 10 episodes as well, type of thing. But it is what it is. It ended on a great note, so that is what matters. But we're going to get to our last show, and that is Rock is a Lady's Modesty. I wonder how, because it's funny, because coming in this, we knew that this was going to be like a Yuri Beatty show, and I was wondering how they were going to play it. And while it was, I didn't think it was like too bad. I think that this was more of just like the girls just kick ass all the time, and I think like that's what should be taken away with the characters, and not the fact that people think. I mean, if someone says this is Yuri Bait, sure, I don't care. It's close, but like the girls are so badass. The keyboardist, I think, still needs a little bit more episodes to like flesh out her character more. But like I would say like the 3 main girls outside the keyboardist, they just rock. The music in the show is fantastic. I would love to see another season with a vocalist. I think that would add a lot to their show. But and you know, just seeing their growth, especially with Tina, who's learning keyboard, her growth as a character, we saw it towards the end, where they kind of how they implemented her in the final song in this Battle of the Bands was sweet. I like that a lot. While I thought like the season overall was like enjoyable, the show just kicked ass. Like that's the only way I can describe it. It just, every episode I'm just like, fuck yeah. Oh, let's go. Cozette, your thoughts on Rock is a Lady's Modesty?
It rocked, obviously. I really liked how refreshing it was, because there's been a lot of girl band shows in the last like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of refreshing, because this one stood out, because it was definitely a lot more vulgar. It was grungy. It was edgy. It was a little sapphic. And yes, like I don't care about Yuri bait, to be quite honest, because I like it when girls express their emotions. Who
Hell
cares?
yeah.
It was a little sexy. You know, it was so much fun. I think Elisa and Otoha have an incredible chemistry, and that's what carried the show. I really don't care about the bassist, and I really don't care about the keyboardist. They really had that unapologetic attitude, and I think what made it refreshing is that it wasn't a typical girl band show with the vocalist, and I think that's what makes it stand out. But I totally understand what you mean about like maybe a vocalist would benefit, maybe. But I do like they kind of stood on their ground of being an instrumentalist band. So like if they continue doing that, I'm totally cool with that. I really like the animation scenes. I guess it was CGI, but I think it was so vibrant and captivating.
It was motion
Um,
captured.
okay, cool.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Bandmade who did the motion capture for this show.
But yeah, Lalisa and Otoha, their playing was just so awesome, and I just that's what captured me on the show. But yeah, I didn't really care about the bassist that much, but she came in a bit later on.
Mm-hmm.
Otoha reminds me of the girl from Kakegurui a bit, so I think that's why I
Oh,
liked her so
Yumiko
much.
for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
she had the same vibe, but I just love that so much.
If that was
And then
inspired by her, if someone told me that, I'd be like, yeah, 100%.
yeah, and then Lalisa reminded me of the girl from Kaiju number 8
Yes.
because they have the same
the
hair.
pigtails.
Yeah.
They're wider than my wingspan.
But yeah, I really liked the show. I think it was so much fun, and then it was so funny because once we got to the final few episodes, and then there was actual like men introduced to the show, I was like, oh, get out of here!
Yo, scram!
No men allowed. Like I think it's so funny. This whole spring season, I was like looking at all the male characters, and I'm like, I
was
barely
terrible.
watched any. I watched barely any shows with boys in it. Like I didn't watch Windbreaker. I didn't watch anything. So like it was mostly all girls this season for me. So once the boys were added to this show, like I hate this, but I'm glad they kicked their asses. So it's fine. But that was a great like finale. I think that was a lot of fun. If there's another season, that would be sweet. But I think it wrapped up fine. I think it was just so much fun, and I think it really stuck out like the first episode. I think it was so vibrant and fun, and yeah, I was behind a lot because I just didn't have High Dive, but then I ended up getting High Dive, so I was able to binge it pretty quickly. So, but yeah, I love that it was like a actual like rock show. So yeah,
I like that a couple of things. I like that this manga is published in the same the same magazine as like Berserk. Like they're like they're in the same category, so that's always fun. I looked that up. You mentioned it. This is not with the show, but like how bad the male cast was for this season. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but to say how bad like the boys were this season, my favorite character is dead. Like that's how poor the selection of best boys were. But this cast was great. The music was awesome. I really like the Battle of the Band stuff. I think they did a little extra of like dudes are bad. Like the lead singer guy was like overly douchey, but like whatever. Like if that's how they want to present them in the light, like that's fine. But like as long as they nailed the music in the show, I was gonna like it, and they did. I thought it was so much fun. It kind of Lisa and Otoa's relationship reminds me a lot of like a sports anime. Particularly like basketball, where like they leave it all on the court. I think in the beginning it makes it seem like they hate each other, but I think they actually like super respect each other, and like they're actually like really good friends. It's just how they express it is super exaggerated, but like it reminded me a lot of like having somebody that you are evenly matched with on like anything. I'm just gonna use basketball as an example, where like if you're evenly matched, a lot of times it can get heated because it's so close. But then after the fact, when it's all said and done, like you respect how good that person is at their craft and stuff like that. So that was the relationship that I got between these two. How they expressed each other, like with that, they're 15-year-old girls. Who gives a shit? Like whatever. It doesn't matter. They're not adults. They're not using logic. They're just screaming at each other. And that's what I wanted from the show. And that's what I got. OP kicked ass. Shout out to Bandmade again. They killed it. Would love a second season. I just think like when I say like I want a vocalist, I think like the progression of bands, because we just watched Given, and Given's the same way where they're a instrumental band to start out with, and then the progression is to get a vocalist. I feel like that's how it starts. You start as an instrumentalist, and then you find a vocalist. And a fifth girl would be a great dynamic. Or if one of the girls can sing, you can keep the core four. But the show is great. This would be like a pretty solid / high 8 on my board. I really enjoyed what I watched.
Sweet. You know, I actually thought they were gonna add a vocalist, and I thought it was gonna be the sister for some goddamn reason.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was like, because I really like the progression of the sister being like, "What is she doing?" And then she's like, "Oh shit, this is really cool."
Yeah. My sister's a badass. Fuck.
That's why I was like, what if she just joins them as a vocalist or like writes lyrics or something? Like I can see that happening. But yeah, I really like the show. It's an 8.5 for me. It's not. There's some of it that I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. In my heart, it's an 8.5 for now. It could be a 9. I just love their chemistry so much, and I think it was so much fun. And it really sticks out as like a girl band show.
Mm-hmm.
It just rocks, and I say that a lot. I say that a lot, but it truly does rock, and I would love another season. So, yeah, it was great.
Hell yeah! Well, that wraps up our spring preview. Cozette, thank you so much for joining me, taking time out of your Canada Day to talk anime with me. Do you have any parting words to your adoring fans?
I recommend to watch Anne Shirley and Uchijin Moo because we're going to talk about it next season.
Woo! And by we, she means her. I might watch it. We'll see. I don't know. But if I don't,
you're watching Anne Shirley, so that's fine.
I am watching Anne Shirley, and it's awesome. So I want to say thanks if you made this far and you want to support us. Best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. Schedule's going to get a little wonky because I'm leaving. Actually, when this comes out, I will actually be back from AX. But we're actually going to be dropping 2 Watch Club episodes back to back. So you'll be seeing Given and then Grand Blue. Those are the back-to-back Watch Clubs that we'll get. But then the next non-Watch Club you will see is actually going to be the summer preview. So it's going to be a little wonky, but that's just how the schedule's worked out for us. So, and maybe some little behind-the-scenes vlogging actions at AX. We might be dropping that exclusively on our YouTube since it's only visual content. So if you're an audio listener and you are not subscribed to our YouTube, you should. If you want to see how pretty Cozette looks and how ugly I look, go to our YouTube. So I want to say
my wall is what you look at. That's what you
can look at Cozette and her wall, and you could look at my cool manga collection.
There you go.
There we go. I want to say thanks again, and yeah, we will see you next time. Peace.